Hi, I'm Chin Lu.
And I'm Sal, and this is our next make.
Today I'm wrapping up a 28-day creative challenge, and I'm excited to share the outcome with you.
Yeah, it's been a crazy month, and I can't wait to ask Chin Lu a bunch of questions so she can tell us all about the experience. Why don't we get started with what inspired you to do this in the first place?
The topic of sustainability is very important to me. I've always been interested in how we fit in this world and how we impact the environment we live in. So that's a big thing for wanting to do an Endangered Species challenge. And I'm also interested in flexing those creativity muscles that we have, especially for the projects we want to do for our next make. So having this challenge is really like a combination of both, being able to experiment, do crazy ideas, do quick prototypes, and then seeing if any of it can become something bigger.
That's awesome. I think you did quite a bit of that during this challenge. I think the audience would want to know, how did you come up with all the crazy ideas for the daily makes?
Some of the ideas were twists on traditional art form that I've learned. For example, like batik. Instead of using traditional melted wax and ink, I used water-soluble glue and some natural colors from flowers or grasses. I also love upcycling things that would otherwise go to the landfill. So I've collected boxes, bread ties, paper clips, and being able to use it on projects like the Ross box top, or the little penguin cable holder, or even the little automaton for the whale. It was just fun to be able to repurpose a lot of these things that I knew would go into the ocean.
Yeah, I have to tell you, I was a little concerned about your collection of bread ties, but I'm glad that they finally were put to use. And I do remember walking around the property and down the road looking for the different materials that we could turn into the natural ink. That was really fun.
Yes.
You did a combination of tactile, hands-on builds, as well as the use of digital tools. Can you tell us about how you use digital tools in the process?
I am a fan of the juxtaposition of old traditional art techniques with modern technology. I love sketching, but I love the idea that you can pick up a stylus and just start sketching on a touch screen as if you were using a piece of paper. I can do so much more, like quickly undoing things. Like, you can't undo a sketch. You can erase it, but it's still there. Being able to sketch and use things like 3D sketch also brings that next level of being able to sketch on multiple planes, so you can create a three-dimensional shape with just sketching. And this idea of research and mood board creation, it was something that I always did with photographs and words together on like a whiteboard with 3D whiteboard. I could do that digitally, and not only those things that I could add, I could also add 3D models into it, so you can really get even a more rich content to inspire you on a project. And lastly, it's just, I love playing with clay. I think everyone loves playing with Play-Doh ever since they're little kids, and being able to shape something and model it. And I used to carve on stone and wood. When you're doing those traditional art techniques, it's a very destructive action, but you're hoping that what you chip away will reveal the thing you want. There's no undo button. Whereas, on X-Shape, on Ask for Kids, if you do something wrong, you're free to make mistakes because you can always just return back to where you were. So it was fun using those tools too.
Yeah, I'm always amazed at how much you can get done digitally with the stuff that comes with a SOLIDWORKS for Makers license. It's a huge portfolio of applications that you can do amazing things with. Staying organized over the course of a 28-day daily challenge is no small feat. How did you manage to do it?
Actually, having the 3D Experience SOLIDWORKS platform, it was a digital playground that I could actually go and just have fun. And being able to organize our projects, and as you know, we created our own set of communities in 3D Swim, where we could organize ideas that we had for projects, write up the storylines for each of the episodes. So having those dedicated communities and being able to access it from my phone when inspiration struck, I could just instantly capture those ideas or take photos of things and just insert it there. So keeping those wiki pages alive and up to date allowed me to sit down and plan everything every moment. So it was very helpful.
So this challenge that you gave to yourself was on top of the weekly episodes that you and I work on together. How did you manage to maintain that level of energy throughout the process?
Yeah, to be honest, it was not easy, especially after the initial set of ideas that I had, quick ideas that I'm like, I could do this, I could do that. But once that was out, I realized that when you have to be creative every single day, you're tapping into a part of your brain where it's a tank that's not always full. And you will get to a point where the juice just runs out and you're like, I have a block, I don't know how to move on. But being able to talk to you, get your perspective on certain things, really helped replenish that well. And as I got more excited and bounced off ideas, I was able to then rethink and come up with better ideas. And really the overall motivation was, I knew that from this whole exercise, we could draw from it some ideas that could become bigger episodes, bigger projects, you know, that can cascade into something much more. And one of the things I really found out is that, you know, as you work alone, you can come up with some good ideas, but it can only go so far. And with a partner or a team, you can really take that so much further into greatness.
That's probably my favorite part about this whole thing. Watching you be creative on the daily was awesome, but then getting inspired by the things you made and then turning that into a couple weekly projects and pivoting and just having fun, that was the best part.
Agreed.
Fun. So do you have a favorite or a least favorite project?
I have two that in similar way, they did similar things for me. So one was the pop-up card with the wild dogs, and the other one was the paper doll with the red panda Star Wars themed. And both of them are very simple ideas. They are paper art, but the whole idea of just pulling it together during video production, putting the soundtrack underneath, and just combining everything, they just came together so well that it captured and solidified my initial intent for that project and for those animals. So I really like those two. The one that I wasn't as happy with, the most disappointing one I think, was the Vaquita episode for Mother's Day, where I had this picture holder and I really went into it with lots of ambition, high expectations. It was going to be beautiful with clear acrylic, color acrylic, but because of my lack of experience with super glue and not really knowing how it would react to the acrylic, nor really thinking through the assembly process, it didn't come out with the polish that I needed. And though it wasn't like perfect, I had fun doing it.
Failing is what we all have to do, right? And I don't know that we'd really consider it a failure because you learned something out of that. And I think you'll take that into the next project and be even better. So that's...
Yeah, no super glue with acrylic.
What about projects that surprised you or turned out differently than you had anticipated when you went into it?
The final outcome of that whale shark project was one that I didn't expect. It was a pleasant surprise. I grew up in Malaysia. I'm familiar with shadow puppet theater. So it's a very two-dimensional art form, and you kind of have these little pivoting arms. I started playing with the puppets, and the artistry of performance jumped in, and as I was swiddling the tail end, I realized you could do so much more with it. So having this three-dimensional waving behavior of the tail really picked up what the whole purpose of that project was. So in a really weird way, it's like pivoting on the spot and like just ad-libbing and just finding that could become a bigger, cooler effect if you play with it more.
Yeah, I really liked how that project turned out. I'm curious, after all these projects, is there something that you say you took away from the experience, that you learned from the experience?
Yeah, I went into this challenge hoping for a journey of self-discovery and really trying to understand and reignite that passion for creating that I've always had. And one of the fears I had was that I might be having this false confidence of my skills, that maybe I wasn't measuring up. And what I realized was that was all just unnecessary second guessing or doubt. Because honestly, it was just the ability to just let things go, try things out, allow yourself to fail gracefully, like you said, and just do and see what happens. We wouldn't be able to innovate and make something new if we edited our ideas before we even tried it out. So that's one of the things I really want to take with me for the rest of the time after this experience, to just do.
Yeah. No, that's well said. I think, we are all our own worst critics, and we have to give ourselves permissions, cut ourselves slack to actually pursue our ideas and make mistakes and fail and learn and improve. It's funny that you say that because, when I look at your skill set, I see nothing but amazing. And to hear that you have this own sort of inner dialogue that's like questioning what I know you're capable of, it's, again, I think we all have that. We have to shut that voice off every now and then and just give ourselves permission to do great things. This was awesome, Chinlu. Thank you so much for doing the challenge. We really hope that you all enjoyed watching the videos, and we hope that they serve as inspiration for parents, guardians, and educators to get young people excited about making things and thinking about endangered species.
Yeah, I started this challenge 28 days ago during Earth Day, and the mission was to highlight an endangered species every single day and end on today, Endangered Species Day. So the last episode is actually going to come up right after this, and it's on the hippopotamus. So if you didn't get a chance to catch the rest of the 27 episodes, there will be a playlist link down in the description. And don't worry, they're all 1 minute long episodes.
So be sure to check them out. And until then, we'll see you on our next Make.
Chinlu here from Our Next Make. Today I'll be featuring the hippopotamus using this.
The hippopotamus, also known as the river horse, lives along the rivers and lakes throughout sub-Sahara Africa. Weighing up to 8,000 pounds, the hippo is the heaviest land animal after the elephant. Hippos seek refuge from the heat by living in water during the day, and at night they come ashore to feed on short, soft grasses and fallen fruit. The eyes and ears of a hippopotamus are on top of his head, so it can keep watch of enemies, mainly crocodiles, while lying low in the water. These giants are currently at risk from habitat loss.